Namaste, Jai Bharat. On the 15th, from Bharat's time concern, it was late night. But for Alaska, this morning, something like 11 o'clock. So on the 15th, their time, for us it is 15th night, that's 16th morning, President Trump and President Putin met in Alaska. The place Alaska is little sensitive, nonetheless. And the usual American poem show, everything was there. And they talked for about 3.5 hours at the most. And what must have evolved of it, no one knows. In reality, there are speculations running in the world. People say this, that lets that be there. Let anyone speculate anything. But the point is that we can't say anything we don't know. They talked, and how they talked, no one knows. It's not. It's kept probably classified. There are problems. Why did Putin want? Why did Putin go for a war with Ukraine? It's just because Ukraine wanted to be a member of NATO and wanted to be a part of European Union, which directly goes against the interests of Russia, and that's how it all began in the beginning. And during these 3.5 years of war, considerable area of Ukraine is captured by the Russians. And Russians don't make a show of things, so we may not know more. But considerable amount of considerable area is already with them. Now, what probably Trump is trying to do is that he would try to settle them, saying that you keep whatever you have taken, and I remain the boss because I have my eyes on your minerals, natural resources. Now, this should be something in the minds of President Trump, but nothing really came out in concrete. First thing, the talk, of course, makes sense in the sense that America and Russia should talk first. They should reach some kind of understanding before they negotiate with negotiate with Zelensky, both of them together, to find out some solutions. Fine. This is one point where there will be differences, that I don't think that Russia would allow Ukraine to be a part of European Union and the NATO. That stumble, that's the kind of thing, stumbling block always is there, and how they negotiate that and overcome that is a thing to be understood in time. In the meantime, I think Zelensky is going to talk to Trump somewhere on 18th or so. Nothing serious can come out of it, because Trump already goes with a blueprint of master plan, and whether Russia agrees it or not, we have to wait and see. I don't think Russia will easily give in. And Trump himself said after the talk that Putin is a tough man. Of course, he has to be tough dealing with people like you. And we are not really afraid of the sanctions which he is making, or the tariff that Trump is putting on us. And what a foolish thing is, we'll pressurize Bharat so that Russia will feel the pinch. Maybe not. But that's how he thinks. I don't know. I don't think that's going to make much sense, because we are already prepared to face any tariffs. If it is 1% or 1,000%, we are prepared to face it. Once we are ready, once we have done our homework, we will look for alternate possibilities. And if you look at the money growth, IMF index, US dollar is going down and Bharat's rupee is going up. And we are making so many things in background, there is no point in talking about it. When things come out, one should see. I won't speculate for my nation. I wouldn't like to speak about things which everyone knows, but then why should I? You can read it for yourselves. This is what comes out of the Alaska meet. Actually, nothing comes out. I don't know why Trump thinks that he can force people to agree to him. I don't know why he thinks. Probably he thinks it is a business meeting of his companies where he will say things and people listen. So he thinks that he can coerce people to agree with him. That's not done. Smaller nations, helpless nations, unfortunate nations who are not that powerful will unwittingly, unwillingly agree to US under compulsions because they have no other option. And these kind of things, of course, it's not diplomacy. They force him and they agree. But that doesn't mean that people with self-respect and people who have got considerable economic strength would just listen to him or anyone for their sake. If you reach an agreement, it should be for mutual benefit. So we are trying for alternates, and Bharat is doing it. This kind of tariffs won't make won't in the long term make much difference to Bharat, because we have a credibility which we have earned through hard work and honesty and transparency. That should go on, that shall go on, and there will always be people standing by the side of Bharat, cutting across all kinds of possible differences as people might speculate. So nothing has come out, but then there's a possibility that if Russia overlooks Ukraine's joining NATO and European Union, the thing will be getting over. But then Russia still wins the battle because they have captured some area, some important area according to them of Ukraine that they would keep. So they would of course think that all the blood they shed or the life they lost is ultimately worthwhile. And Zelensky also would feel proud, in the sense feel happy that he gets a protection of NATO and European Union. This is a situation. But then how strong NATO, how strong European Union is going to continue is to be waited and seen. There are alternate world order developing. There are alternate world order developing. Till now, after the Second World War, I would like to call it as World War, Second European War, Europe and US, they were setting trend for a world order. It had been happening for a long time. And somebody setting a world order and then you are just falling for it is unacceptable, though people realize that that's unacceptable. They still were rather otherwise compelled to keep quiet. But once there is an alternate to the situation which they have created after the Second European War, then there will be a new world order. There are already efforts on the people's part to weaken dollar. The dollar was playing havoc for others' economy. At US was standing. The dollar, they were standing very solid on dollar. And if the dollar weakens, many things will change. And there will be alternate world order. There should be bipolar world, not unipolar world, at least for the sake of theory. Theory of coexistence, theory of democracy. The world should be bipolar, not unipolar. Otherwise, what's the difference between dictatorship, so-called fascism, and democracy? US calls themselves as democracy. They would even go to the extent of saying the biggest democracy, oldest democracy, but these are spurious because they are not the biggest democracy. They are not the oldest democracy. The oldest democracy is Bharat, predating Greek direct democracy. We always had governments of democracy. Not all princely states of Bharat was democracy, but then there were considerable amount of democracy existed in Bharat. And we were so liberal. Look at our religion, how liberal is Hindu Dharma. There are no coexistence, there are no forces. So that's besides the point. So there shall be a new or different world order which is inevitable for the well-being of everyone. We shall meet again. Hopefully the world shall become more friendly place Like my professor during my MIDS used to say, the world is a very unfriendly place. He's educated in Cambridge and he'd seen the world much more than me. He'd experienced with people, interacted with people much more than me. Um, and after living at that time, he was just 45 years old, 46 years old, 45 years old. He was telling the world is a very unfriendly place, and it is really the case. All that we can do is to somehow make the world little more friendly. Maybe not totally friendly place, but little more sensibly friendly place, so that people can exist more comfortably. This should happen in future. So we shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Sri Ram.